Welcome back to HQ Spotlight. I want to take you back to week 4. Everyone stayed up late to watch the Sunday night football showdown between the Bills and the Ravens. Baltimore, if you remember, had a terrible start to the beginning of the season, but then it all started clicking after this game. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry ran all over the Bills defense, handling them their first loss of the season. You fast forward to Sunday, and the MVP favorites are at it again. Jackson with the slight edge in terms of the all-pro voting when it comes to him and Josh Allen. But Allen with a chance to get the revenge, the last laugh, and ultimately the win. It's a game that is happening on CBS as you take a look here at the tail of the playoff tape between the two MVP favorites. We've got our MVP here, Charles Davis, back on Spotlight to give us a preview of this game, Charles, that everyone is looking forward to watching. The Ravens enter this one slightly favored at -1.5. You've got MVP3 favorite Lamar Jackson on track to win that award again. And when we look at his game, Charles, it's interesting, right? Because he won the MVP last year, and even from that moment, he's elevated his game even more, right? He's been improved as well. But I feel like the pieces around him have just been a little bit more comfortable, too. What have you liked about how that side of the ball, the passing and Lamar Jackson, just how they've been able to get to this point?
Haley, you make great points because remember when he was winning MVPs before, they ran the heck out of the football. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. And then you remember when guys would get hurt, people would fill in, they'd sign, and they'd play for a week or two and give them some decent play because, as John Harbaugh says, running the football is in our DNA in Baltimore. But what has helped is Zay Flowers' development as a receiver. Rashad Bateman, a former #1, now ascending and playing a much better and bigger role. So it's not just throwing it to Mark Andrews. They've now got a variety of people to throw the ball to. Plus, you're handing it to Derrick Henry. Now you fake it to Derrick Henry and keep it. The whole offense has expanded under Todd Monken's guidance as their offensive coordinator.
You mentioned Derrick Henry. It's hard to not talk about his impact on just the entire offense in general. I think it's helped Lamar really open up and play a little bit more free. And I think they've really defined what a 1-2 punch looks like when it's being efficient. We know that in this last matchup, he went off 199 yards. So do we expect to see more of the same when it comes to Derrick Henry running the ball?
Haley, they're going to kick off at 6:30 or 6:30 Eastern time or so on Sunday night. So in Buffalo, I would expect temperatures to be in the single digits at best. That's the type of night that as a defender, especially when you get back to us defensive backs, you're going to question whether you really want to play football when 250-plus pounds is coming at you, carry after carry after carry. I have a feeling Baltimore is going to test it because here's the thing to keep in mind. Buffalo's run defense didn't hold up last time. They play a base 4-2-5, 5 defensive backs on the field at almost all times. Those guys are going to be willing to throw their bodies in there and tackle. I know they're willing, but are they able to slow down Derrick Henry? I think that's how it's going to start. Baltimore's going to test them throughout. Todd Monken's ego is not so big that he's going to throw it around for no reason at all. He's going to make sure number 22 gets his touches, and let's see if they can dent that Buffalo defensive line. This is the way that they did last time.
I mean, I was so almost disappointed that he didn't get to that 2,000-yard mark just because of how well he's playing. You wanted to see that part of his game, but he has really changed the offense. And if we look at the other side of the ball in Baltimore, Charles, the defense has really stepped up too. I know we have a full screen just showing some of the improvements here that I want to talk over here because the numbers, Charles, they're almost jarring. When you look at the Ravens through week 14, they were allowing almost 265 passing yards per game. And the improvements there over the last couple of weeks, week 15 to 18, they were second in that category. Is there a person, a player, a system change that you can point to that led to that improvement?
I think more system change than anything, Haley, and it starts with Zach Orr, first-year defensive coordinator. They brought back his mentor, the guy he played for, Dean Pease, as a consultant to help out with the defense when they were struggling early. Zach, of course, got his legs underneath him as a coordinator. And they started out with, okay, we're getting dented all the time here. So they started playing a lot of what we call top-down defense. Nothing over your heads, play back, everything in front, rally up and tackle, make the offense run extra plays, they may make an error, et cetera, et cetera. But as time went on, they weren't just playing top-down anymore. Their stars started to come to the front and started to make plays. Marlon Humphrey is an all-pro nickelback. Kyle Hamilton is an all-pro safety. Justin Matabike gets all-pro mention at the defensive line. So, excuse me, Namdi, because it used to be Justin. I want to make sure I get his name correct. Those people now are starting to have a bigger impact on the game. Kyle Van Noy is a veteran outside linebacker, bigger impact. So they went from top down to try and get steady to all of a sudden playing like a Raven again. And now they're shutting people down, and they're playing with extreme confidence as the playoffs roll on.
Just giving Zach Orr a shout out. He went to North Texas, a proud North Texas grad, so we are so proud of him.
Green.
Go Mean Green. That's what we love to see. So we're excited to see that his playing time has sort of transitioned there at the coaching level, too. On the other side of this matchup, Charles, raise your hand if you thought the Bills would be here, because I remember when we were all talking about that this is going to be a rebuilding year for Sean McDermott and that Josh Allen was just going to have to get through the season. And yet here they are, and not just here, but they really dominated throughout the regular season as well. And of course, the one consistent has been Josh Allen. I know we talk about Patrick Mahomes and his ability to change the way the Chiefs play. How do you put into context what Josh Allen has done this season?
Well, Haley, all I can tell you is go back and roll the tapes. I picked Buffalo in preseason. Okay, so I picked them to win the division, so I feel fine about this. The other thing that I made a big prediction on was that Josh Allen would have his best season because he was going to emulate Patrick Mahomes and carry a football team that doesn't have stars around him when everyone else was voicing gloom and doom. He was looking forward to the opportunity to be that guy to pull a team along and carry them. Did he have some weapons people don't talk about? Yes. But not to the extent that you would expect. It was similar to Tyreek Hill leaving Kansas City, and people were wondering what Mahomes would do. Well, they've won 2 Super Bowls since then. Now, Stephon Diggs leaves, Gabe Davis leaves, Khalil Shakir steps up, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, throw it out of the backfield to James Cook. Do what you have to do to make plays. And Josh Allen, of course, looking like a Triple Crown horse when he goes. I said he looked like War Admiral. I talked with a good friend of mine and said, forget that. He's justified. Who won the Triple Crown going away. And that's what he has done this year. So, yes, I picked him in preseason. I thought Allen would have his best season, and he has done it. So I feel good about getting one thing right this year, Haley. Not many others, but I got that one right.
We got this one, and you know his offensive lineman, Dion Dawkins, echoes your sentiments. He said that this is the best he's seen Josh Allen, this is the best he's seen Sean McDermott, and really this is the best he's seen out of this team to this point. But I want to give some credit to Dion Dawkins and that offensive line because they have protected Josh Allen this season. It's part of the reason why he's been so successful. He's taken just 14 sacks this season. It seems silly to ask you, Charles, but how important has that offensive line been to the success of this team this year?
They've been beyond important because it's not just Dion Dawkins, who is a Pro Bowl left tackle. Spencer Brown has improved his pass protection on the right side, always been a mauler. Torrance at guard, Mauler coming out of college. If it's going straight ahead, he's going to road grade you. We call him an APM, an automated people mover. All right. McGovern in at his natural position at center. So they've done a magnificent job coming together as an offensive line and being that group that you look to carry a football team. And they are thrilled to do anything they can to make sure Josh Allen has the opportunity to operate, and he's done it quite well.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just writing that down. Automated people mover. We're going to have to work that into our conversations. I love that. Okay, so the automatic people movers have been working well. The quarterback's been working well. The defense here has really been clicking as of late, too. The only problem is, Charles, when you look at this last meeting between the Ravens and the Bills, it wasn't pretty for the defense. They gave up 35 points, 427 total yards. I mentioned Derrick Henry as well, almost hit that 200 mark on the ground. So all the things we just talked about with this Ravens offense and the challenges they present, how do the Bills contain it?
Run defense, run defense, run defense, which starts up front. Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones. Can they slow people down inside? All right, that's going to be the big one right there. Greg Rousseau looks like just an elite pass rusher coming off the edge, but with his long arms, he can control offensive tackles and stand there firm in the run game. He'll need to do that as well because you want to make sure Terrell Bernard and the linebackers, Matt Milano, are clean in front and can just run to the football and make those big hits that they're going to have to make against Derrick Henry. All right, he's going to test your will each and every time he carries the football because behind him, 5 defensive backs. And then we always talk about offensive linemen saying, hey, if we can block it up where defensive backs have to tackle the entire game, we like our odds, especially with a guy like Derrick Henry. So let's see how that goes for them. Bottom line is run defense for the Bills first, foremost, and always. And can they hold in there the entire game in these types of weather conditions that the Bills Mafia is going to love? But I can tell you as a former player, not a lot of fun when you got to tackle 250 pounds of fury time after time and the temperature's getting down near single digits.
You're going to have a strong mentality out there for that game. It is so exciting, and we can't wait. And now we're all prepared thanks to our conversation with you, our Charles Davis, breaking down the divisional round in the NFL playoffs. Charles, always so good to chat with you, my friend. He spent a lot of time on the call this year for us. Coming up this weekend, it is Jim, it is Tony, it is Tracy, it is the Bills and the Ravens, and it all kicks off at 6:30 on Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.